Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl, Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully everything is going well for you on this lovely Saturday. Here in Baltimore, we're shooting for what? 50 degrees? Girl don't know what to do with herself. But I'm here to teach you a little bit of math. Why not? So if you are new to my channel, I just want to let you know that we basically look at different math components that you usually see in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, your GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, the TEAS test, the HESI test, the Z test, everything from A to Z, right? That has to deal with algebra. So what I do is I basically give you some problems, you try to solve them to the best of your ability, and you put the answer into the comments. And then afterwards, I will go over it, and then we'll take it on from there. So I'm just here to try to build up your math abilities, but also build up your confidence. So if you are like a parent, and you're doing some homeschooling, this is the live for you. If you're trying to raise your score on the GED and the ASVAB, this is the live for you. Okay? And if you just want to do a quick refresher of your math skills, guess what? This is the live for you. All right, so let's take a look at the very first problem. So we're going to simplify. So we have the absolute value of -3 and -7 minus 2 squared over 4 minus 6. So I want you to tell me, what do you think the answer is? Is it A, 1? Is it B, -1, C, 9, or D, -5? Okay, hello Jacinda, how are you? Hey Janice, how are you doing? Right? How are you doing? Because it's almost 50 degrees. We don't know how to act, right? I went outside, I was like, ooh, okay, this has promise. Hello, Icy. How are you? Good afternoon to you. Thank you guys for all coming in. And then, of course, they're talking about snow tomorrow. I can't. Like, I'm done with this. Anyway, good afternoon, AKR. How are you? You need to know the answer, please? Okay, as soon as we get all these people coming in. All right. I beg you. It's not really that stressful. Is it, local? You okay? All right, so you love the snow? The snow is okay. But after a while, yeah, it gets kind of crazy. All right, so Bacon, you got -3. Okay, your cortisol's off the charts. Okay, well, calm it down. Breathe it. Relax. Ben is saying D. Hummer is saying -3. Does the line mean opposite? So that is the absolute values. Okay. J Stacks, okay, I got you, not a problem. Okay, so we have our -3. Hello, Red Indian, how are you? Welcome back. Okay, Luna, we're saying -3. We're saying -3. Thanks for checking in. Professor, how are you? Math is awesome. Archer, we got with the -3. Let me see if I got some other people that said some things earlier. So Local Garbage also said -3. Jacinda said B. All right. So, okay, Icy, we said a D. We have a 5. We have a -3. Can we just solve? Yeah, go ahead and solve it to yourself and then put your answer right into the chat. All right, so Love Fresh, we got D's. Solved it already? Awesome. Good job. All right, thanks everyone for checking in. Thanks for the gifts. Appreciate it. All right, so let's take a look because we have a few different answers. Some are saying D, some saying B, some saying C, but I didn't see too many A's, so that's very interesting. Okay, so now we have all this. Luna, you not solve it, stop it. So Luna, I know you got some home training, so make sure you get it together before you come into my platform. Okay? Appreciate you. So now we have the absolute value. So absolute values, the numbers are always going to be positive because it's your distance away from 0. So we have -3 minus 7. So when we have two negatives and we're combining them, we're going to keep that negative and we're going to add the numbers together. So now we have the absolute value of -10 minus 2 squared. So 2 squared, that's 2 times 2, which gives us 4, over 4 minus 6, which gives us a negative 2. So like I mentioned, the absolute value of negative 10, it's always going to be positive. So that means absolute value of negative 10 is just 10. I'm going to bring down my minus 4 and my negative 2. So now we have 10 minus 4. So 10 minus 4, that gives you 6. And then 6 is over my negative 2. So 6 divided by negative 2, that's definitely possible. When the signs are opposite, your answer is going to be negative. And then 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our answer is going to be negative 3. And I know you're probably saying, well, Audrey, we don't have negative 3 on the answers. I know, because that was supposed to be a negative 3, and I forgot to change it. Okay, so at least I know where my errors are going to be. So if I put it in a book, I'll be okay. All right, so the answer is definitely negative 3. All right. Okay. All right. No, it's not negative 7. Because this is not a negative 14. This is an absolute value. Absolute values are always positive. All right. Okay, so for the next one, we're going to evaluate. This time we have x cubed. Let's see if I take the shadow off a little bit. X cubed minus 2xy plus y squared when x is equal to negative 2 and y is equal to 3. So is your answer negative 7, 13, 1, or negative 5? J Stacks, no, it's not wrong. So what's the right answer, J Stacks? Because in the beginning, didn't you say you didn't even know what the question was? Yeah. Never took algebra in high school? All right, Marco, I got you. Thank you. Scroll back up. That's what the question mark means. All right. Okay. Okay. Hello, Michael. How are you? So we got a whole bunch of B's. Hannah had a B. Larry with a B. Okay. So let me go back because apparently we have a lot of youngsters on here that are still trying to build on their math skills, which is perfectly fine. First off, this is an absolute value, and then this will be a negative 10. Negative 3, negative 7 gives me negative 10. Now, what's being squared is not a negative 2. There's not a parenthesis around the minus sign and the 2. The only thing that's being squared is the 2. So 2 squared gives you 4. So it is a minus 4. So now the absolute value of negative 10 is 10 because absolute values are always positive. It is the distance away from 10. 10 minus 4, that will give you 6. And then we have 4 minus 6, that gives you negative 2. And 6 divided by negative 2 gives you negative 3. Okay, your answer is negative 3 for the first one. So now for the second one, sorry for those that are just coming in, had to kind of scroll it up a little bit. So we have x cubed minus 2 times x times y plus y squared. So we have x is equal to negative 2, and when y is equal to 3. All right, so we have all that. Hi, Chris, how are you? So Secret thinks it's C, okay? All right. So we are substituting. So all we're doing is every time we see an x, we're going to put a negative 2. And every time we see a y, we're going to put a 3. So now we're going to be looking at order of operation. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally from left to right. Okay, so we're cubing. So -2 to the third power. That is the same as saying -2 is multiplying itself 3 times. Okay, so -2 times -2 gives me a +4. And +4 times a -2, that gives me a -8. So this -8 takes the place of that -2 cubed. Then we also have another exponent, 3 squared. So 3 squared, that's the same as saying 3 times 3. And 3 times 3, that gives us 9. So inside, in between, we still have our -2 times -2 times 3. Then we have our +9 that we got. So now we took care, there's no parentheses, we took care of the exponents. Now from left to right, we got to take care of the multiplication. So we have this -2 being multiplied by this -2. So -2 times -2, that gives me a +4. If I bring down the next term, which is multiplied by 3, we got to multiply 4 times 3, that gives us 12. So now I'm going to bring down my +9 from earlier. And since this is a +12, I'm going to put a plus in front and bring down the 8. Okay. So we'll have, right? So we'll have my -8. Thank you. Got to bring that down. So now -8 plus 12, that gives me a 4. And then we have our 4 plus 9, that will give me my 13. So the answer for this one is going to be B, 13. Okay. All right. Okay. So these are some of the sample questions that you will see either on the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, and also some algebra courses. So I just basically, for those that are new, I basically kind of break down concepts that you basically usually see in those examinations. Let me cover this part up. So here's the next one. We have 2 times, that's what the brackets mean, 2 times 3 times x minus 2 minus 4 times x plus 1. So do you think our answer is going to be A, B, C, or D? Can you make -2, -2a? Understand how it becomes +2. Can I make -2, -2a? I'm not sure what you're asking, Kelly. Okay, so we have a couple of D's. Okay, real, saying not C. Okay. I love how you're doing the process elimination. Good job. I see, think it's D. Thank you so much for the follows, guys. Appreciate that. Okay, real is saying A. Paper towel eater, okay, saying A. Real is now saying D. Okay, so what does the X represent? 1. The X represents any number. It's the number that's in front. Coefficient of X is what's 1. Okay, hey Loops, how are you? Pet's with A, Michael with the D, Real, Biden, Janae, how are you? Okay, got some B's for sure for Gilbert. Genesis is saying yes. Are the brackets like parentheses? Yes, they are. Okay. Thank you for the help. I'm not sure who did that. Okay. Breathin'. So we're getting some B's, we got some D's, we got some C's. Okay, so we got some B's, D's, and C's. So let's see, hurry up and tell me the answer. Thanks. Well, no, KJ. Now you make me want to take my time. Okay, that's what's wrong with you guys. You guys want instant gratification. Okay, it's basic high school, yes. Do I also do IGCSEs? I'm not even sure what that is. All right, so we got C's and A's. People mad and impatient, right? I'm telling you. Okay, may you explain the X again? Sure, Bombshell. So a lot of people keep thinking that X represents 1. It doesn't. It represents tons of different numbers, okay? It's the coefficient, the number that's in front of the X, that will be right here. That's 1, okay? Not X itself. X is your unknown. It could be anything. All right, so let's take a look. So remembering, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, from left to right. That's what everyone keeps forgetting. So if we go inside the parentheses, so deep inside the parentheses, we have x minus 2 and we have x plus 1. So there's nothing there. There's no like terms that we can combine. But within the brackets, we don't have any exponents, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do have the distributive property that's going on, not once, but twice. So when I distribute, I got 3 times x, so that gives me 3x. Then I have 3 times negative 2, so that will give me a negative 6. Now, what's going on with the second parenthesis, I'm not just distributing a 4, I'm distributing a negative 4. So when I distribute the negative 4, I got negative 4x. And negative 4 times a positive 1, negative times a positive, opposite signs, that will give me a negative. And all this is still happening inside of the brackets. But what remains out here is that 2. Still working inside, we're going to be combining like terms. So when we have our 3x, we also have a negative 4x. So if you owe me $4, negative, but you paid me 3, positive, that means you still owe me $1. So now I have a negative 6 and a negative 4. When the signs are the same and you're combining, you keep that sign and you just add the numbers. So that will give me a minus 10. So now here I can't combine anything. Okay, I don't have like terms. This is where the 2 that's outside this bracket comes in. So I'm actually going to distribute, because that's what brackets do. I know here in the States we hardly ever see brackets. We're so used to seeing parentheses, but as mentioned earlier, parentheses and brackets are the same representation. So 2 times negative 1x gives me a negative 2x. And then 2 times a negative 10 gives me a negative 20. So our answer is going to be negative 2x minus 20. So your answer will be D. Okay. So I'm going to shrink that down a little bit. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Hey, Nicole, how are you? Okay. Don't really do too much with business math. All right. I know, it's the time of year that everyone needs to get their little naps on, so we got all that. Okay. All right. Do I know pre-calculus? Yes, not that AP pre-calc, which cracks me up. A lot of people think that you're going to get college credit for the AP Calc. It all depends on the school. Make sure you guys do your research if you're currently taking AP Pre-Calculus, because you might be not really wasting your time. I don't want to say it that way, but you're not getting college credit for it, depending on the school. Okay, if your school said that you are, they lied. Okay, just a little heads up. Do I know geometry? Yes, I do. Okay, so now let's kind of go into this one. So yesterday, and even the day before, we were kind of doing a little bit with factoring. So I kind of want to bring some of that back. So we have 3x squared, there we go, plus 10x plus 8. Now, we're pretty good when our leading coefficient is 1. But this time, our leading coefficient is not 1, okay? So some people are saying A, a couple of people are saying C, all right? So I'm going to show you a couple ways, because especially if you're taking this to help you with the GED, maybe even help you with the ACCUPLACER, just testing. And the one thing that gets it is you don't have too much time. Now, if you're thinking about going to the military and to take the ASVAB exam, especially the algebra portion, there's 2 parts to it. You're going to basically need like 1 minute per question. And there's going to be some that you don't have to spend that much time. Now, the easiest way for me to do this is we know that the first 2 terms has to multiply together to give me 3x squared. So if I look here, I got 3x and x. That's 3x squared, so that works. 3x and x, the same thing. 3x and x, the same thing. X and 3x, the same thing. Okay, so that trick doesn't work. But then I could look at the last terms to give me 8s. So if I multiplied the last 2 terms, I got 4 and 2, that gives me 8. 2 and 4, that gives me 8. 8 and 1, that gives me 8. And 8 and 1, that gives me 8. So now this is going to be all relying on which one of them is going to give me a middle term. That's going to equal 10. So this is what happens. And I'm just going to show you step by step. So I'm taking my answer choices. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply these 2. Okay. And I'm going to multiply these 2. And when I add them together, they should equal that 10x. So let's see. 4 times x, that gives me 4x. 3x times 2, that gives me 6x. So when I add the 4x and the 6x, I got my 10x. So option A looks like that's my answer. Okay? Because if I tried to do option B, if I multiply 2x, that gives me 2x. And if I multiply 3 and 4, that gives me 12. And if I add those 2 together, that's going to be more than 10. Boom. That's gone. Okay? If I multiply in the middle, that gives me 8x. Multiply the ends, that gives me 3x. That doesn't give me 10x. Okay? So I'm just showing you so you know what to look for. Just multiply these 2, 8 and 3, that gives me 24. Right away, no, gone. Okay, so your answer is going to be A. So sometimes you'll be able to find your answer just by, 1, looking at your answer choices. Now, if you're a student, current student, you have to show your work. Okay, but if you're taking any of these standardized tests, they do not care about your work. They care about, did you pick A, B, C, or D? What is the right answer for that question? Okay, so that will help alleviate stress, because the one thing a lot of us do, especially for people, my seasoned people, what happens is you're so used to having people tell you, you got to work it all the way through. You don't get extra points for working it all the way through. If you see your answer after you do the first couple steps, boom, click it, circle it, bubble it, move on. Okay? All right. So, next one. So this one, a little bit of a word problem. Okay, so the area of a rectangular storage room is represented by the polynomial x squared plus 9x plus 20. If the length of the room is x plus 5, what is the width? Is it A, x plus 2, B, x plus 10, C, x plus 4, or D, x plus 15? Okay. That's something to be proud of. Johnny, you all right? Okay, so got a bunch of C's, good. All right, got a bunch of C's, good, good, good. Okay, Con, I see you. Michael, I see you. Sugar Plum, how are you? I see you. All right. G in a bottle, I see you. Cute name. All right. Is that Jen? Hold on. Sugar Plum, I got B's. Jean. Okay, good. Lots of C's, lots of C's. Good. All right. Nice. This is probably the first time I see. You're guessing C, Deb? I'll take that. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. Just like my little trick that I kind of showed you earlier. We know that we're going to have two parentheses. And we know that one of them is already x plus 5. The other one has to be x plus, plus something. Now, I need to know what two numbers multiply to give me 20 and add to give me 9. So when you take a look, you're like, okay, I got to multiply 5 times what will give me 20? Well, 5 times 2, that gives me 10. That's not going to work. Okay, 5 times 10, that gives me 50. And if that's going to give me 50, obviously D is not going to work. So it is going to be C, which is x plus 4. Because 5 times 4 gives me 20, and 5 plus 4 gives me 9. Okay? Yep, yes it is. Let's clean up that language though. See, I'm not just like anybody else. I'm old school. I don't go cursing at you. I have my moments. Just don't come in here and try to bring all that negativity. All right? So now, here's another word problem. The volume of a box is given by 2x cubed plus 3x squared plus 6x. After factoring out the GCF, what are the remaining factors of the trinomial? So is it A, B, C, or D? Okay. Okay, so Logan, we got B. Is it Hyder? Saying D. JT Tours, how are you? Welcome back. Saying D. What's the GFC? GCF, greatest common factor. Trust Logan. Okay, that's nice, Johnny. Okay, Lauren's with B. Good Times Guide with D. Liza with D. Okay, thank you so much for the follows, guys. Okay, Samuel, Pepper Jackie, both saying D. Okay, so we got a couple more D's. True Blue saying 2 is the GCF. Okay, take a look. So we got user with A, Mimi with B. Boobs is saying C. Isabella saying D. Hello. Carmen, okay. Can't be D. Okay. It's A, B, C, D. All right. Sugar Plum. Vicky with B. Sugar Plum with D. Okay. Craigley saying A. Charlie B. Empress. Ooh, go ahead, girl. Empress with a D. Jacob with an A. Need my help on this one? Not a problem. Okay, BMW with D's, Airman with B. All right, well, let's take a look. First off, our GCF. So I'm going to zoom in on the problem a bit. So all we're doing is we're looking at this part right here. So we need to know what our GCF. So GCF is the greatest common factors. So we need to know what our factors of 2, what are factors of 8, and what are factors of 6. So factors of 2 is 1 and 2. Factors of 8 is 1, 2, 4, and 8. Factors of 3 is 1, 2, 3, and 6. What is the largest numbers that all three have in common? Okay, so all of them have, the highest number that they have in common is 2. So for my GCF, we have a 2. But that's not the only thing. Here has x cubed. So x cubed is the same as saying x times x times x. Okay. X squared, that means x times x. And the 6 has just one x. So I want to know how many x's do they have in common? How many can I group in all 3 lines? I could only group one set. That's how many x's they have in common. So your GCF is actually going to be 2x. All right, so that's going to be your GCF. So knowing that, just like someone said earlier, that means option D is going to be gone because they said the GCF was going to be x. That's not possible. Okay, so now what happens? In order for us to figure out what goes inside of the parenthesis, we're going to have to take our original and divide it by our coefficient, our GCF. So it's going to look something, let me put it up here, something like this. So we have our 2x cubed plus 8x squared plus 6x. And we're going to divide each of those terms by our GCF, which is 2x. All right. So when you do that, 2 divided by 2 will give me a 1, and is understood to be there. Now when you divide, you're basically subtracting the exponents. So you have x cubed divided by x. This is a 1x. So 3 minus 1, that gives me 2. And if you didn't understand that part, this is what happened. We had 3 x's in the numerator. We have 1x in the denominator. So when I cancel out, okay, because anything divided by itself is 1, but what remains is we have 2 x's left. That's where this x squared came from, okay? We have an 8 divided by 2, so that gives me a positive 4. There's an x squared divided by x, so it's 2 minus 1, so that means there's 1x left. So if you have 2 things and you take out 1, that means you have 1 left over. So now we have a plus. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. And x divided by x, they cancel each other out. Okay? Anything times 1 is itself. But then you're probably saying, well, Audrey, I don't see our answer. They have 2 parentheses. What's going on? That means we need to factor it completely. That means inside of this parenthesis, it can be broken down even further. So let's take a look. I'm going to bring my 2x down, and I'm going to set up my 2 parentheses. So my x squared, since there's 2 of them, I'm going to split it up. So 1x here, 1x there. So now let's take a look. What number multiplied together, what 2 numbers multiplied together will give me 3 and add together to give me 4? Okay. So, right? So we have our 3 and 1. Thank you, Ferns. All right. So we have a positive 3 and a positive 1. Because 3 times 1 gives me 3, and 3 plus 1 gives me 4. So now, looking inside the parentheses, I have nothing else to break down. So if I don't break it down, I can bring it down. So my answer is 2x times x plus 3 times x plus 1. If they're flipped around like they are with problem A, okay, if they're flipped around, that's fine. Okay. All right. Okay. How we are feeling. All right. Did I ever teach pre-calculus? Yes. Okay. Yes, I did. So I tutor from 7th grade all the way up to adults. Okay. So anyone that's taking college algebra, I got you. I go up to regular pre-calculus. I do not do AP pre-calculus. You can go back to the depths of hell which it came. Now, think about what we're doing. And you're probably saying, okay, I was with you until this. This looks crazy. But see, here's the thing. You're looking at this problem as one big whole. So don't leave. They're like, oh my God, I'm done. No, don't leave. So if I cover this up, I'm just going to cover up and focus just on the numerator. We have factoring. We just have to factor this. So let's think. What 2 numbers multiplied together will give me a -9 and add together, and you're like, well, Audrey, there's no x there. Exactly. It's a 0. So what 2 numbers multiplied together will give me a -9 and add together to give me 0? There you go, Don. Thank you. Wheatley, thank you. All right. Bree, thank you. MJG, thank you. Okay. So 2 numbers. Let me get my 2 parentheses. All right, splitting my x's. There's 1x here, there's 1x there. Then I have a 3 and a 3, but since it was a -9, one's going to be positive, the other one's going to be negative. Okay, because if I multiply +3 plus a -3, they cancel out, they give me 0. So that's the numerator. Now, let me shift and cover up the numerator so we can focus on the denominator. My leading coefficient is 1. Yay! That means I can set up my 2 parentheses, split my x's, and now I need to think. What 2 numbers multiplied together will give me 6 and add together to give me 5? Okay. All right. Don's got 3 and 2. Cynthia. Okay. Lubes. Think about it for a second. Bari. Good. God's child. Hey, God's child. How are you? Okay. Sometimes I got to look up. Take a look. It's Don Pablo. Good. BMW. There we go. There we are. Nice. Okay. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. 3 plus 2 gives me 5. And since they're both positive, I put plus signs for both. Okay? Look at you guys doing Algebra 2 stuff. Now, what do you notice? What do you notice? Okay. We got like terms, good. Good times, yes. The x plus 3, yes. We can cancel, good, Michael. Okay, they cancel out, good. Abram, good. Cancel out the x plus 3s. Okay, top and bottom cancels out, cancel, combined, yes. So since these are both x plus 3 divided by x plus 3, okay? On the numerator and on the denominator, we're multiplying, but we still have this division bar, right? When you have something being divided to itself, it equals 1. So what's left over? We have x minus 3, which is in the numerator, and x plus 2. Two different worlds, so keep them. So that will give me x minus 3, x plus 2. Well, this is x minus 3, but that's not x plus 2. So your answer is going to be A. Okay? Now, the reason why I showed this, one, people taking the ASVAB, if you get something like this, which you will, that means you're doing really well. Okay? That means you're like in the 6s, close to, no, I lied, early 70s. Okay? 60s, early 70s. Okay? For those that are taking the ACCUPLACER, you're doing really well. You're pushing towards that college algebra level. So remember, like those tests, you're basically using like leveling. But those are the two exams that you can't use a calculator for. I don't want people to practice doing a lot of the things because GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, you can't use a calculator. TEAS tests, yes, they'll let you use a scientific calculator. So a lot of the things that we're doing, if you just remember and try to take it step by step and then do a process of elimination, you're going to be just fine. The HESI test, you can definitely use a calculator. My score is so low. Yes. Now, for this, okay, maybe just the factoring that we've done, maybe not so much as a fraction. That's what you will see in your GED. That's a 4-point question right there. Okay, if they just gave you this and they told you to factor, that's a 4-point question. Don't skip that. Anything dealing with slope, the equation line, this is people who are taking GED or high school equivalent. Listen to this part. If you're dealing with anything with slope, the equation of the line, graphing equation of the line, system of equations, system of inequalities, factoring, volume, area, and circumference or perimeter, those are 4-point questions. And if you're wondering, why can't I just pass it? Because you keep skipping the 4-point questions. You will not pass if you skip the 4-point questions. The slope, the equation of the line, okay? Volume, especially when they do volume, they do rectangular prism, which is just length times width times height. Just multiply the 3 numbers that they give you. Boom, done. The volume of a cylinder. So it's the area of the base. The base is a circle, so that's pi r squared times your height. Plug it in, boom, done. And sometimes they do cones. If you know the area of if you know the volume of a cylinder, which I said is your pi r squared times h, if you want to know what that is as a cone, divide it. just divide by 3. Okay, that's the area of a cone. That's the volume of a cone. Okay, but they do a lot with rectangular prisms. Okay. All right, hard enough. And it's true. Yep. Do I do 1-to-1? Yes, I do. My fee is $87 per session for an hour. Yep, and I'm worth every penny. And plus, I only have 2 slots left. It's that time of year. Not the math. Okay, not a problem, chick. Not a problem. Okay, when do I teach pre-calculus? During my tutoring sessions, Bree. I don't do the free sessions on TikTok for pre-calculus. Okay. Oh, God's child. There you go. No more math. Good job. Okay. Yep. All you have to do is just message me. Just message me. There's a link in my bio that you can click on it on my link tree. So if you guys are interested in tutoring. All right. Okay. No problem. Statistics, depending on what statistics it is. Because sometimes I'm like, no. I know. Okay. We have, I think I have a couple more, and then I got to skedaddle. Because guess what I got to do? Tutor. It never ends. All right, saving that one for later. Okay, so. Thank you guys so much for your time and your attention and your patience. Because I know it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. Not easy. Okay. All right. So taking a look. All right. Oh, thanks, Lisa G. Appreciate that. All right. So let's take a look. So Michael is saying it's A. So we are solving. Solve for W. We have A equals LW. So that's the area of length and width. So we're solving it for W. Okay. So my bad is saying A. User 45 is saying A. Isolate the W. Yes. Quietly Sage is saying A. Thank you so much. Something's changed is saying A. Zwet is saying A. The Mac is saying A. Icy is saying A. Lubes A. Okay, Carrie, good with A. Okay, I think this is going to be a sweep. Okay, Fave, dark skin with A. I don't know this yet. Okay, no problem. BMW, not a problem. This is definitely on the GED and definitely on the ASVAB. There's like 2 questions. Okay, all answers are A. I hope so. Okay, all right. So what you're doing is you're taking this equation and you're trying to solve for the W. Okay, so that means this L, since I kind of drove over it, needs to go to the other side of equal sign. So when you see LW, that means L times W. The inverse of multiplication is division. Okay, I did it this way so you can get it. So L divided by L will cancel each other out. So then you have A over L. So your answer is A. All right. Okay. Get it easily. Okay. All right. On the SAT, see, the one thing about the SAT, it's a combination. It will take a problem like that, but then twist it. So you usually have 2 or 3 different formulas going on at the same time. So SATs, they like to take what you're learning in class and have you think outside the box, whereas the ACTs reflect exactly how you're learning it in the classroom. All right. Oh, thank you, Mike, for the stickers. All right, so we have C's, we have A's, we have C's. Emily, how are you? Seeing C. Okay. Questions of the SATs? Yeah, kind of. All right, C this time. All right, so we got our A's, we got our A's, we got our C's, D, A's, and C's, and A's. All right, be careful, young people, be careful. So we are simplifying 2x cubed raised to the 4th power. Okay, 2x cubed raised to the 4th power. Okay, Try to remember the rules. So got a whole bunch of A's and a D. Remember the power rules. Yes. Okay. So if you can't, I don't want you to go to these tests thinking that you got to memorize everything. Okay. Hey, Billard saying B. Okay. New England Kate saying A. Okay. We got some A's. Ozzy's here is back from the grave. Yes. Saying A. Okay. Christoph with the D. We have an E. Come on, Christoph. All right. So let's take a look. Everything inside this parenthesis is being raised to the fourth power. So that means your 2 is being raised to the fourth power and your x cubed is being raised to the fourth power. Okay. Now, 2 to the fourth power does not mean 2 times 4. Stop it. Okay. You notice that there is definitely a size variance. Okay. They're not of equal stature, so you just multiply. No. This 4 is telling this base of 2, hey, I need for you to multiply yourself 4 times. Okay, that's what that exponent's job is. So now you got 2 times 2. This gives me 4, this gives me 4. So that means 4 times 4 gives me 16. Okay, knowing this information, you're looking at your answer choices. D is gone, A is gone. So now we got to look at our x's, our variables. So let me slide this over a bit. So again, this exponent is telling this base, hey, x to the third power. I need for you to multiply yourself 4 times. And when you're multiplying, what are we doing with the exponents? We're adding them. So you got 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So 3 plus 3 gives me 6, right? And then we got another 3 plus 3 gives me 6 over here. So 6 plus 6 gives me 12. So you have x to the 12th power. So here's the thing. We could do what's called the expanded form, or we could remember you have a power being separated by a parenthesis, being raised to a power. You can multiply those two together and you'll get right to the answer. So by knowing that rule, you save so much time with the extended form and counting the exponents. So when you have a power being raised to a power, multiply, because 3 times 4 gives me 12. So our answer is going to be C, 16x to the 12th. All right. Okay. So whole thing about all of this is when you're trying to do well with any test of the algebra, it all depends on how it was introduced to you. I know a lot of us are still having trauma over math because people are just like, I can't deal with this anymore. It's all because of how it was presented to you. All right. So I'm here just trying to build up people's confidence. I'm here to break down these concepts. Now, I did mention, yes, I do online tutoring, and yes, it's $87 a session, and the sessions are an hour long. But I do have an alternative. Now, my alternative are my books that I finally released. It's called Algebra at Your Pace. So with the Algebra at Your Pace, it's a step-by-step process. So let's say you're trying to do square roots. This QR code, if you scan it, it will give you instructional. Sometimes it's 20 minutes, and you can take some notes off the paper. You have a section for you to do some practice on it. And after you write down all the practice, especially from the video, remember, you can fast forward, you can rewind, you can pause. You basically have me as a tutor, right? Then you're given some extra practice problems, nothing overwhelming, just basically reflects on all the stuff that we just went through in the video, couple challenging questions, and of course there's an answer key on the back so you don't have to go running all over the place for it. But then I also, at the end, I give you a quiz. Okay, so I give you all the quizzes. But not only do I just give you that like every other workbook, I also give you some resources. So let's say, oh, 1 second. Gotta do that whole sliding thing. Okay. All right. So give you all the resources for the decimal operation, for a fraction operation. So this is the first volume that deals with integers. So if you are not very well versed with your adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing integers or decimals, or you still struggle with exponents, volume 1 is going to be the book for you. Because then I have all the order of operations. I have the properties of exponents. Not only that, you get all your fractions and your percents, so you can get all the whole changes. Then I give you, just in case, not a multiplication chart, because kids nowadays don't know how to read multiplication charts. They get lost all the time. So what I did was I give you a factor sheet, okay? Some people will give you from 1 to 100. I give it to 1 to 200. Okay, because we're dealing with larger numbers. Then also for you with the squares, the perfect cubes, which terms and operations, terminology, okay? And then as an added bonus, I gave you flashcards, okay? Flashcards with the exponents. So you can actually cut them out. You can make copies of them, and you can make yourselves like a flashcard. So this side will be the question, and then this side is going to be the breakdown of the answer. Okay, so I tried to give you guys some other opportunities and other things to help develop you, and you can go what at your pace. Okay, so it's going to be up to you. So again, the link is in my bio, but this one's volume 1. Volume 1 gives you the integers and all that. I'm trying to get my other stuff. Okay, volume 2, it deals with the functions, factors, ratios. Okay, again, I have a little bit of order of operations in here, scientific notation, ratio and proportions, trying to get all that stuff done, the least common multiple and the greatest common factors, what we were doing today, that's all in there so you can practice on there. And the other one, if I can find it, okay, putting things on a coordinate plane, relationship, all that, okay? And then again, you also get resources in the back. And this time I gave you some sample cards, like matching cards that you can use. So that's volume 2. Volume 3, if you suck, I used to suck, solving equations, 1-step, 2-step, multi-step equation, distributive property, solving with absolute values, okay, even with the solving, multi-step equations. Again, I give you from the very beginning, because instead of you scanning all the time, in the very front of the book, that's why I decided to switch it up. That if you just hit that QR code, and then it will give you access to the whole thing. Now, if you don't want the book, you can get a digital copy, and you can get that started today. All right. Then you have your linear equations. This one should be key, especially for those that suck at slope. I know I say suck because that's what I used to do. Then you have your graphing, all your graphing pages in here, how to solve it, how to graph it, how to find slope. All of that is in here, okay, with the instructional piece. Then you have volume 5 and 6. Volume 5 and 6, we're dealing with inequalities, okay? Greater than and less than. We're dealing with systems. So solving compound inequalities, solving multi-step inequalities, solving inequalities with absolute values. That's a thing. And then, let me see, graphing linear inequalities with the shading, and then giving you some problems to practice on, okay, with the answer keys on the very back, all right? So everything going from system of equations, system of inequalities, and then I just released one last Friday. I'm waiting for the books to come in. We did a lot with the factoring, okay? So I did all of those. So that's out and about as well. So where can you find it? You can go into my link. These are basically the prices. I'm going to be very transparent. Okay, so this is the physical copies of the Algebra at your pace, the digital copy, which you can get through my site. Again, the link is in my bio. And that'll be like the $12.99. So now I also have flashcard books. So if you guys have seen some of these, so one of them, skedaddle, one of them deals with the part that a lot of people really have trouble with, which is the order of operations. Okay, so order of operations, we got like matching cards. Here you can do the evaluations, get with the practice with it. Some of them have whole numbers, some of them have higher exponents. So you can get all of those in. So one will be this card, and then the other card, you get to match it. So all of these have the answers so you can match it up. Now, if you're probably like, Audrey, how do I know which one is right? Well, I got you. There's an answer key in the very back. All right, so with the answer key, so you have that one. We also have the solving. So if you want to practice with solving, you can do that. The same exact thing is going to happen. Here you got your answers for each of them. Okay, so then your answer keys. Then we have the ones with the simplifying and the same thing. So this one, as you can tell, the book is pretty thicker than a Snicker. So we got that. Then we also have the formula review cards. And then these are all of the formulas that you're going to be associated with, because I know some people are like, I can't remember. So use flashcards to help you remember. And again, I always give you an answer key. Okay, so you'll have an idea what's what. And I think I gave extra practice with the exponents here as well. Okay. Which volume for slope? So I told you for, I think it's 4. Volume 4 for slope. Okay, so volume 4, anything dealing with slope, equation line. So all my GED people, if you are struggling with basically understanding the integers, pick volume 1. But if you're just like 2 points away, it's because of you are skipping the slope questions. So if you're trying to get your GED and you're just like maybe less than 5 points away, it's because of the slope stuff. Get volume 4. Okay, that would be your best bet. But if you haven't seen math in a long time and you didn't do any of the practice tests, start from the very beginning. Start at 1. You're so welcome. Okay, yep. Exactly, Lisa J. It's good, especially for those that want to do, if you're a classroom teacher, you got all that. The other ones, because I'm waiting for my shipment to come in. Oops. I had it. I had it. You should see my desk. It's like crazy. All right. These are the other ones that I actually have available. My phone wants to do something crazy. All right, here we go. All right, so if you're not sure about your squares and your cubes, a lot of us are very strong with the squares, not so much the cubes and the cube roots. There is starting to be an increase of this in those common tests, especially for the ASVAB and the ACCUPLACER. So if you need some flashcards to help you with that, do so. If word problems is your nemesis, it used to be for me, and I just didn't understand which words or which phrases went with what operation, I did the verbal to algebraic. So let me show you a couple examples of that. So if I said, what is 2/3 of a number? How would you represent that? How would I represent 2/3 of a number? Go ahead and put that in the comments. Okay, is this good for the ASVAB? Yes, it is, step bro. Yes, it is. So far, thank you, Ice. Ice! All right, so we got like 2/3 times C. Okay, divided by 3, we got Bobby. Good, but we got 2/3, so it's going to be something divided by 3. So 2 divided by 3, right? So here's my match. There you go. Here's my match. You got your 2/3 times n, or you can use any letter that you want to know. Do you know how to teach Algebra 2? Yes, I do. I used to be a teacher for 22 years. You got it. Algebra 2 is my jam. Okay, so here's another one. 7 less than a number. This is the one that a lot of people generally get screwed up on. Let me take this one away. 7 less than a number. How would I represent that? Put that into the chat. Okay, Icy's saying 7n minus 7. Okay, Israel. Thank you, Israel, for doing that. Thank you, Ice, for doing that. Okay, thank you, Lisa, for doing that. We got 7 minus n. Yes, BB, thank you for doing that. 7 is less than n. Okay. All right. All right, so A minus 7, brown flour, thank you. Okay. So, let's do this, because I gotta keep my eye on my time. 7 less than a number. I am so appreciative of the ones that put the less than symbol. The difference between the less than symbol and just less than is the word is. If it says 7 is less than a number, it will be 7 with the less than sign. Remember, the head is pointing to the left, and then a variable, which could be n or x or whatever. But since it just says less than, that's going to be subtraction. Now they're saying 7 less than, so that means that subtraction symbol needs to be associated with the 7. The 7 is the one that's doing the subtracting, not the number. So less than, I always remember you gotta switch it. So it's going to be n minus 7, okay? All right, but do not be like, I'm never going to put anything up there again. I feel so embarrassed. Please don't. Please don't, because this is the reason why I put these cards together. And like for you to get a whole stack just out of the book, this is how many cards you will get out of just that one book. Okay, tons. There's usually like 4 cards per, but this one I think I only have for like digital, but that's what we do. Okay. So that's the verbal to algebraic, and it's the matching game. And of course, you always get an answer key for it. The next thing is algebra at your pace. If you like my factoring chart, if you like the formula charts that I generally put in all of my books, I've decided to put all of them from my notebooks, from Audrey's notes, from these lives. I put them all inside of one book. So now you got all the formulas that you generally use for these things. All right. Then I told you about the formula cards. So if you had their formula cards, prime example. So if I give you this, what is this representing? What is that representing? Okay, what is this representing? Okay, Bossman is saying distance equals speed over time. We got acceleration with user 37. Okay. And if you're not sure, you can put a question mark because I'm going to tell you what it is anyway. I'm not going to be like, all right, what's the symbol? All right, bye, y'all. Okay. So a lot of people will generally know, especially for the basic algebra form. Yes, there you go. So this is going to be your distance, rate, and time. Okay, so the easiest way to kind of remember which are you looking for? Are you going to be multiplying or are you going to be dividing? So if you are looking for the distance, you covered the distance part, that means you are multiplying the speed and time. If you're looking for the speed or acceleration, you're doing your distance over time. So you're dividing. If you're looking for time, that means you're doing your distance over your speed. You will see, ASVAB people, you are definitely going to see a lot of these. Okay, a good handful of those. If you do well on them, you're definitely getting past that 31 and you're just going to go and grow and excel. All right, so these are like a lot of the formula ones. So like this one, what is this formula for? And this is another big one that you'll see. What is this formula for? You needed this years ago? Yep, I needed this years ago too. I wish I had this. And a lot of people nowadays wonder like, well, it's on an app. And I'm like, yeah, but you look at your phone all the time for other things. So when it's time for you to do work, you can't do the work. So what would GED people see? Been saying it all along, all of this. Okay? Not sure, people? Candy, I see you. Not sure, not sure. Wasn't stuck. All right. This is the formula for simple interest. Okay, when you're trying to find simple interest, you have your interest. Your P is your principal, so basically what we're starting off with. You have your rate, which you have to change it from a percent to a true decimal, and then you have your time in years. So if they ever give you like how much simple interest will you earn in 6 months, you're not putting a 6 for the time because it's not 6 years. 6 months is half of a year, right? So then you put in a half, 1/2, or 0.5 for your T. So this is going to be for simple interest. So these, okay, for the quadratics, yep, I have for the quadratics as well. Not printed out right now in front of me. But, but you have a lot of those. Then I also have my other pack. Okay, we have the SOHCAHTOAs. Okay, when we're talking about our sine, cosine, and tangent. We have our 30, 60, 90 triangles, which are your special triangles. We have our measure of angle 1 and measure angle 2. They are supplementary angles. So it's a lot of these formulas, a lot of the volumes, a lot of the circles areas, all of this. Okay, so all of these are here. That's what I'm just basically trying to say. All of these are here. So if you are interested in purchasing any of those, the link's in the bio. Okay? If you have some questions before you make a purchase, please go ahead and reach out. Because I'd rather you ask before you purchase and you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. Don't you ever hate getting buyer's remorse? I know I do. But then you're like, hey, you can't do anything because you're already, sold it out. So, but this is what I do because I'm basically trying to find ways to help you, okay, even with your multiplication and your division, especially with positive and negative numbers. So, made a huge book for both of these. Like, they are the thickest books that I have right now, okay? No pun intended. But again, if you go to the link in my bio, you can get all of that. All right. Okay, so here I go. With the calculator, you got to remember, Madrid, that's the one thing. If you're taking the GED or the ASVAB or the ACCUPLACER, you cannot use a calculator. If you practice using a calculator, then when it's time for you to test, you're wasting a lot of time because you're just like, what is 7 times 8? And then you're freezing up. Okay, so you have to practice the way that you are going to play. All right. Okay, everyone. Well, I have to skedaddle. Again, if you want, the link is in my bio. These are the prices for the books. So if you're doing algebra at your pace, okay, you can do physical copies, which you take it from the A, which is the brown box with the smiley face, or you can do a digital copy and you can print off what you need to print off. The links are going to be still exactly the same. If you want the flashcard books, you got a variety of them. Again, the physical copies on the A. If you go to the link in my bio, it will take you directly to what you need. So you don't have to go running all over the place. But if you do have questions, go ahead and ask them. Just shoot me a message, and I will get back to you as soon as I'm done tutoring. All right. Thank you, Shashar. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for staying. Okay. What time do I go live? I do not have a schedule anymore, Cherry. I do not. I just figured that if you follow me, that will be like your best thing. You should get notifications when I go live. Basically, you could say Audrey's live, because I go to my people that needs tutoring. I service them first because, not to be, cheeky or anything, they help pay my bills. TikTok coming live like I'm doing today for this past hour and 15 minutes. That's not paying my bills. Okay, so like if I don't have electricity, guess what? Audrey can't go on TikTok. So that's why I kind of have to take it that way. Okay. All right. So go ahead, follow me here on TikTok. And if you're interested in any of the books, just go ahead. If you just want to message, you can just go ahead and message. All right. So thank you so much for your time and attention. And I hope you guys have an awesome day. Okay. Have a great one. I'll probably see you sometime tomorrow, but I have no idea what time because I keep getting clients. All right. Okay. Have a great day. Take care.